The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are simply that, opinions. All are presumed innocent until proven otherwise in a court of law. Sensitive topics are discussed. Discretion is advised.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light?
On the afternoon of September 10th, I arrived at a Utah hospital to do the unthinkable, to look directly at my husband's murdered body. That young man. I forgive him.
I forgive him. Charlie Kirk's wife forgiving her husband's alleged killer. With such a high-profile case, we're talking this morning about just how they'll pick an impartial jury. And defendant Karen Reed back in court today for her wrongful death lawsuit from the O'Keefe family. We're looking ahead to live court. Plus, a story that's blowing up on the internet right now. A teen girl's body found inside of a popular singer's Tesla. Now his tour is canceled amid the ongoing homicide investigation. Also this hour, defendant Luigi Manion wants the death penalty off the table. He already got 2 state terrorism charges dismissed. So could this new motion tip the scales of justice in his federal case? It's all coming up next for you right here on Opening Statements. Good Monday morning to you and welcome to Opening Statements. I'm Julie Grant. Are you ready for some coffee and some court? This is the show where we get you all warmed up and ready to go for the big day ahead on Court TV Live. Right now, let's start it off as we always do. Grab that cup of coffee. It's time for my opening statement. Lying, crying, coked out Leilani Simon wants a new trial. Remember her? The young mother who killed her toddler, Quentin Simon, and dumped his body in a landfill, and then lied to the world, trying to make it seem like she was the victim of a kidnapping. Well, apparently now she doesn't want to do the time for her crimes. She's petitioning the court for a brand new trial, and there's going to be a hearing on it on January 9th. So in the meantime, my friends, I say, let's take a little trip down memory lane and refresh ourselves on just how this murdering mom treated the baby that she birthed. The evidence proved that lying Leilani favored her other 2 kids over her son, Quentin. That poor child would cry his eyes out because his mother would feed her older child before him and make him think he wasn't going to get any food. What kind of sick, rotten mother makes their child cry before they feed them? And then we learned from the babysitter that, when she would go to care for Quentin, he would arrive dirty, in dirty clothing. He would smell of rotten milk. And that precious angel would cry when his own mom would pick him up, but he would be relieved when his mom's boyfriend, Daniel Youngkin, would pick him up instead. The evidence made it very clear that baby Quentin Simon suffered long before the day that he was murdered. His brutal death and disrespectful disposal were the culmination of the terrible treatment that he received from his mother during his short life on Earth. That beautiful baby Quentin Simon deserved so much better. And if I were that judge, I would keep lying, crying, coked out Leilani behind bars. That's my opening statement. Let me know if you like it. Right now, it's time for your daily docket.
What say is the defendant at the bar leaving the scene after accident resulting in death? The defendant not guilty or guilty? So say you, Mr. Foreman? So say you all? Yes. Jurors, hearken your verdict as the court records it. You, upon your oath, say the defendant on 001 is not guilty, on 002 is guilty of operating under the influence of liquor, and 003 not guilty. Thank you.
In Massachusetts, Karen Reed is back in court, this time for her civil lawsuit. The O'Keefe family has filed a wrongful death lawsuit against her. The hearing today is going to start up at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. In Iowa, we've got the machete murder plot trial resuming this morning at 10 a.m. Eastern. Defendant Dakota Van Patten is charged with helping a friend kidnap and murder his girlfriend, Melody Hoffman. And in Tennessee, we've got jury selection beginning in the newest trial we've got for you, the Baby in the River murder trial. Defendant Brandon Isabel is accused of murdering his girlfriend and throwing their baby into a river. Right now, we turn to your top story this Monday morning as tens of thousands of people paid their respects in Arizona for conservative political activist Charlie Kirk. His memorial service was held on Sunday. This comes as Kirk's accused killer will be back in court in just a week from now. Kirk's wife, Erika, gave an emotional speech remembering her beloved husband and revealed her thoughts about his accused killer.
That man, that young man, I forgive him. I forgive him because it was what Christ did and is what Charlie would do. The answer to hate is not hate.
22-year-old Tyler Robinson, the defendant in this case, will be back in court on Monday for his preliminary hearing. So the question we're wondering this morning, with so many emotions swirling around this case and all of the discussions, will any of that emotion trickle into the trial? How will the attorneys and the judge work to make sure the case is tried on the facts, on the law, on the evidence, and according to all the rules? Let's bring in our legal eagles and talk about this. Criminal defense attorneys and former prosecutors Mario Gallucci and Matthew Timpanek on the show today. Great to see you both this Monday. So let's start with the concerns that the judge must have in this one. Mario, tell me, as soon as we have the judge assigned, what are some of the things you think he or she will be thinking about to kind of gatekeep and make sure things stay insulated?
So in a case like this where you have such, presence about it, he's probably going to try to restrict the lawyers from commenting to the press or try to keep them from expanding upon what's out there. He doesn't want them to affect the potential jury pool in Utah. So I could see him trying to not censor them, but tell them to be more aware of the comments they're making. They have to have, the jury pool is in Utah, and you're going to have to make sure that the lawyers don't prejudice that whole pool. It's going to be very difficult to pick a jury in a case where such significant presence from the media is about. So
most definitely, Mario. And then how about for the lawyers? Matt Timpanek, would you tackle that question for us? Some of the concerns you think both sides will have going into this.
It's going to definitely be, what is your presence on social media? This is going to be one of the trials where social media is going to play an instrumental role in getting the word out there about the existence of this trial. Everybody knows it happened, but people aren't going to know when the actual trial is. And you're going to see a lot of commentary on social media when the trial comes. And the issue with that is it has the ability to taint the jury pool. It's like, you are looking for 12 to 15 people, more likely 15, 16 people, to be able to determine whether or not this individual, first, the evidence supports a conviction. I'm guessing that's going to be yes. But the more important question is this a situation where the defendant is going to be sentenced to life in prison or the death penalty? The district attorney out in Utah has already stated they're going to seek the death penalty. So it's going to be, you need to find individuals who aren't going to come in with preconceived notions about the case. So if you're an attorney, you're going to want to be checking these jurors' social media contemporaneously, because you just don't know what they could be saying one thing and doing it completely other.
Yes, Matt, I'm so glad you brought up about the prosecutors already filing their notice of intent to seek the death penalty. Even though they had 60 days from the time of charging to do it, they let him know at his first appearance at that arraignment that we brought everyone last week. Speaking of the death penalty, this case so big, even the president has commented on that, hoping that the person who assassinated Charlie Kirk will receive the fullest punishment that the law allows, and that is the death penalty in Utah. The president was at his memorial service on Sunday. We have a clip from some of what he shared with the audience members.
Less than 2 weeks ago, our country was robbed of one of the brightest lights of our times, a giant of his generation, and above all, a devoted husband, father, son, Christian, and patriot. And so, on that terrible day, September 10th, 2025, our greatest evangelist for American liberty became immortal. He's a martyr now for American freedom.
Let's take a look at the charges that Charlie Kirk's accused killer is facing. There are 7 charges in total: aggravated murder being the top count, felony discharge of a firearm causing serious bodily injury, 2 counts of obstruction of justice, 2 counts of witness tampering, commission of a violent offense in the presence of children. Those are the counts he is facing, and the prelim will be happening on the 29th of September. Utah is a camera state. We will be there. We will be broadcasting this. Mario, tell me, at this point in time, what are his lawyers doing to get prepped for next week?
So if this was my case, I would start by looking at your potential jury pool. And this is a big case. I'm going to go into the judge, asking him if I can have additional questions asked, perhaps a questionnaire. I know in Utah it is attorney-driven jury selection, unlike New Jersey, which is judge-driven. So an attorney-driven jury selection is much better in a case like this. You get to ask the questions you want to find the answers to, especially, do you know anything about the case? What do you know about the case? So the attorneys are trying to gather all of that information. They're doing all their research on whether or not, aggravating factors, mitigating factors. If he is convicted, they need to present in the second part of this trial. If it is a death penalty case, what are the mitigating factors that would take away the death penalty and give him a life sentence if he's convicted? So certainly those are the things I'm going to be focusing on right now. You're not going to get a bail, so I wouldn't waste my time worrying about trying to put together a bail package. I'd be spending most of my time trying to figure out some mitigating factors, get them evaluated by a doctor.
Right, Mario. Yeah, smart call there. I have a clip when the district attorney spoke out about the charging, about the intention to seek the death penalty, and he shared some of the pieces of evidence. One of the most damaging pieces are the text messages that Tyler Robinson sent to his roommate, this person also his lover. And essentially there's a confession there, and there's explanations, about it all. Let's take a look at some of what was shared.
Roommate, why? Robinson, why did I do it? Roommate, yeah. Robinson, I had enough of his hatred. Some hate can't be negotiated out. If I am able to grab my rifle unseen, I will have left no evidence. Roommate, how long have you been planning this? Robinson, a bit over a week, I believe.
The investigation may not be over either. Matt Timpanik, want to talk to you about that, please. The FBI Director Kash Patel has spoken out saying there is a possibility of accomplices. Having been a former prosecutor, as you and Mario are, I want to ask you, please, Matt, what are some of the things that the prosecutors may be doing right now behind the scenes as they're working with the investigators and shaping the case against Tyler Robinson that we know they're bringing and possibly advising on other cases?
What they're definitely doing is they're trying to find out if any other players either helped him, knew about it beforehand and maybe helped him do something, or found out it after it happened and helped him after the fact. Because Those are accessory before the fact and accessory after the fact. Those are important to be able to do that, to be able to make the case, because they want all people held accountable. And also, those individuals would be called as potential witnesses to make the case more ironclad. In this type of case, a win for the prosecution usually is just a conviction. But I think with the eyes on the case, it's more a win is getting the death penalty imposed. So then you're looking at those text messages. What does it give you? A confession, yes. But more importantly, if you look at them, it shows premeditation. When you're a prosecutor, you also got to anticipate what defense counsel is going to say and what they're going to argue. It's likely going to be an insanity defense. And those only work a small fraction of the time. But if you read the messages, he looks like he is of sound mind before and after he commits this crime. So when you're a prosecutor doing all this, you have to be thinking about what the case is, and you also got to be thinking about what are they going to argue and be able to combat it.
Sharp points. Matt Timpanik, Mario Gallucci, great analysis from you guys. Stand by, please. We're going to hit our first break of the hour. If you need some more coffee, go get some. Here's what's coming up for you next on Opening Statements.
And she told you she was going to go bike riding?
She bikes every day, yeah.
Okay.
She's going to bike when she gets up.
So she was asleep in the bed when you left. Did you say bye to her or anything?
No, she's asleep.
Okay.
Always leave it.
So the last time you probably actually saw her was this morning. That was it, right?
Yeah, I've been here before. I got a big job up there. I've been here all day.
Accused killer Barry Morphew out on bond this morning. That's right, he made bond, and it was all thanks to his fans. Yeah, his fans. They were largely responsible for him getting out. We'll talk about that. Plus, singer David canceling his tour after a teen girl's body was found inside of his Tesla. No charges yet in the case, but we're wondering, have internet sleuths already solved the crime?
The Court TV podcast will return.
So that is singer David performing Where Did It Go Wrong from his debut album, Withered. Now, the 20-year-old singer went from recording songs in his sister's closet to grabbing millions of followers on social media. But now he's finding himself at the center of far more serious circumstances after the body of a missing 15-year-old girl was found in the trunk of his Tesla. As the investigation continues, his remaining tour dates in the U.S. and Europe have been removed from ticketing websites. Now, earlier this month, the decomposing body of 15-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez was located inside of a Tesla registered to the singer in Los Angeles. It was discovered after somebody noticed a foul stench coming from that impounded vehicle. Now, police have not said that Davis is in any way connected to Rivas's death at this point in time. But that certainly hasn't stopped the mass speculation going on internet chat rooms. So, have social media sleuths unfairly convicted David? Let's talk about it. Let's bring back in our legal egos, Mario Gallucci and Matt Timpanik, and welcome in entertainment commentator Holland Reed. All right, so Holland, let me start with you here. The social media world is buzzing about this case with this performer who started on TikTok. For anybody who's unfamiliar with him, like I admittedly was, it was TikTok where he really started gaining a following. And then from there, had one big hit that we know of that went mainstream and got radio play. So a lot of young people very familiar and doing a lot of speculating. Holland, is it too much? Has it been a conviction already in the court of public opinion, do you think?
I don't know if it's too much or a conviction, but the timeline is just not adding up. And there is a lot of, I would say, my armchair detectives out there, like, as am I, that are just, something's not adding up here. It's just a bizarre and really, really disturbing case. One of his songs, ironically, that is a big hit is called Romantic Homicide. And so that's got people in a buzz. We've got the timeline of, yes, she did go missing in April of 2024. Her remains not being found until almost a year and a half later, him reporting the car, and then I think more so if we knew the timeline or how long the body had been decomposing, it will start to put those pieces of the puzzle together for a lot of people. But it just doesn't seem to make sense. We know that allegedly the mother of Celeste said that she had a boyfriend named David. We know that they said that they had matching tattoos, shush, on their index finger. He posted about a girl named Celeste. There's a lot of things going on there, that there's a connection between the both of them. Whether or not that involves a homicide or a dismembered body in the back of his Tesla that he had something to do with, that remains to be seen.
Right, Holland. Great points there about how, there are facts that have a lot of people saying, well, wait a second, is this not a random coincidence or something caused by someone else, perhaps because of these connections that you just pointed out. Mario, what do you think, doing criminal defense work, primarily, for many years in federal and state court, does this concern you that the sleuths take over a lot of cases before there are even charges?
So Matthew hit on this in your last segment. Social media has really, really taken over these cases. I mean, they get out on TikTok, they go on Facebook, they go on Instagram, and they post things that maybe are not true, or they are true, or they're lies. And you got to be really, really careful and sensitive to it, especially during jury selection. I mean, you really have to attack the social media aspects. I've had it in many of my high-profile cases where the social media just gets out of control, and people come up with convictions before there's even any evidence. There's no evidence that this young man has done anything wrong, nothing wrong. He's, from what I understand, he's fully cooperating with the police. I haven't seen that anyway on social media. There was a search warrant executed at his house. I haven't seen anything about that on social media, that they recovered anything or they didn't recover anything. So you really have to be attuned to what's going on in social media as a criminal defense attorney, more so now than ever before.
Yeah, most definitely, Mario. This young lady, 15 years old, was 14 at the time she disappeared. We know she was 5'1", had wavy black hair. She had that tattoo on her right index finger that Holland mentioned, the tattoo that you could see when she would hold the finger up. It was on, like, the inside of it. And apparently, David has the same tattoo on the same finger. Could be coincidence. The medical examiner did speak to Court TV. Here's a look at part of that interview. Here we go. Oh, I thought I was playing a clip. I apologize. We've got a quote issued to Court TV. So it says, the decedent was found severely decomposed inside of a vehicle on September the 8th. She appears to have been deceased inside of the vehicle for an extended period of time before being found. And that would be consistent with her being reported missing over a year ago. This child has been missing for a long time. So she's still a child. David is 20 years old. And so there's a question of whether there was an inappropriate relationship going on at the time. Matt Timpanik, let me talk to you. You do criminal defense work as well, having been a prosecutor. Tell me, is there a concern with the speculation about whether there was anything romantic going on with the two of them as perhaps being prejudicial? If down the line, let's say there are charges filed here, we can't unring the bell if there's a lot of bad stuff going on. Tell me your thoughts on this and how also you may advise him. We know he's cooperating right now. Your thoughts, please, Matt.
One of the things that's to consider is whether or not, I believe it's California, has Romeo and Juliet laws. I think she was, 15, and he was 20 at the time. But when did their relationship start? Did it start when he was younger in age? But for me, the biggest thing I'm doing with him is, I need to know. Is there anything I should know? Because I'm not going to tell you to be cooperative if they're going to find something. You're going to tell them something that they wouldn't otherwise get. In this type of situation, when you're looking at the unfair speculation, we try cases in courtrooms. It's based on evidence and facts presented. Unfortunately, sleuthing criminal attorneys are kind of skipping all the steps, which is the evidence phase. Yes, him her being found in his car is not a good look. It's possible that eventually down the line, he's going to be the prime suspect in this case. But you cannot skip to that part based on just speculation and like they have the same tattoos. You need to put together a timeline. You need to find evidence. Because remember, this would be a criminal case. It needs to be proven beyond a reasonable doubt. So if you're the prosecution, you need to button this up big time, because this individual is going to have access to highly priced attorneys who are going to rip everything apart. So you need to not try this case on social media and allow other people to basically convince you to file charges, but you got to do it based on the evidence. And if you're a defense attorney, you need to make sure it's like, if you have something, don't say anything whatsoever. If they can get something on you, don't say anything. You can be cooperative, but don't be too cooperative, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does. I love your analysis, Matt. Thank you. So we know for this guy, David Burke, which is his real name, this was a rapid rise to fame. So he had a #4 hit on the Hot Rock and Alternative chart in 2022. That was the song Holland mentioned, Romantic Homicide. It was released 2 years before this young lady, Celeste Rivas Hernandez, went missing. So this guy's got 4 million followers just on TikTok. And here he is talking with the Associated Press about that social media following.
I wasn't shaped by my environment whatsoever. It was mostly just, I was such an internet kid. The internet is really what I claim as my home. Like, if you ask me where I'm from, I say the internet, because I was just online every day, doing my schoolwork, making songs, making a video, being a YouTuber, content creator, posting TikToks, posting on Instagram. Like, that's really my neighborhood was Instagram, and the society was the internet. You know what I'm saying? So I'm very appreciative and grateful for the art that comes out of Houston and the art that comes out of New York, but it hasn't shaped my artistry at all.
So if David Burke does become defendant, David, how might his fame factor into the trial? Holland Reed, I want to go back to you on this, please.
I mean, it's gonna factor a great deal, Julie. We know that these high-profile celebrity cases, everyone, like you said, the media is running rampant with this. There's so many questions, and that's why there's so much intrigue about it. He is such a young and rising star, which makes this even more, I think, bizarre. He was someone that was known to be, like he said, from the internet. He is that generation. But what makes it really interesting about what he said is that, you know, nothing changed for him. Nothing changed for him. Well, this is going to be something that changes everything. He is now going to be, like you said, suspect #1 in this case. And because he is so famous, people are going to follow it nonstop until they get their answers, which puts him in another category where you're not from the internet. You are from the world of public judgment and a trial by media.
Yeah, isn't that so true, Holland? And we know that other people were said to have used that car. It wasn't just being used by him, other folks as well. So want to point that out. Matt Timpanic, would you take us home on this point about the fame factoring in? Oh, I'm being told we don't have Matt's signal, and that is okay because we're out of time anyways. Mario's sticking around. He's able to come with us for some more segments. Holland Reed, we got to let you go. Actress, dancer, photographer, superstar. Thank you so much for coming on the show. We'll see you soon. When we come back, we're going to talk about Barry Morphew. Yeah, this defendant has posted bail. A lot of money was put up for his bail. How did he do it? Well, apparently he's got fans. If you were unaware, well, now you know. He's got fans that helped post the bill. We'll talk about that. Plus, will there be another win for Luigi? We're going to New York and talking with our legal team about the question of whether the death penalty will be dismissed. That's what the Mangione legal team wants to happen. Is it a possibility after that win just last week? We'll be right back.
Luigi, do it. And it's completely out of touch. And it's an insult to the intelligence of the American people. It's a lived experience.
Now, back to the Court TV podcast.
Welcome back. This morning, the Colorado man accused of killing his wife, Suzanne, is in our spotlight. Barry Morphew. You've heard his name before. You've heard about his wife, Suzanne, went missing on Mother's Day years ago. This is the second time husband Barry has been charged, accused of her murder. And now he is out on bond because his supporters helped raise money so he could post. That's right. County Sheriff's Department saying that he posted on Friday. His bond was set at $3 million. And as our parent company, Scripps News, reports, a bail bondsman posted at least 10% of that, or $300,000. Well, earlier this month, the judge declined to reduce Morphew's bail, but did modify the terms of his bond. Let's listen.
If Mr. Morphew posts bond through a surety and then absconds, he not only has $300,000 on the line, there's also a bail bonds person who would be tracking him down. And if he chose to post a cash-only option, then he would have $3 million on the line.
Now, in June, Morphew was arrested for the second time for allegedly murdering his wife, Suzanne. Now, she was reported missing on Mother's Day in 2020. That's how long this case has been going on. Her remains weren't found until more than 3 years later. Now, Barry Morphew has maintained his innocence since his wife disappeared. So what comes next for him? Let's talk about this because apparently there was some help in getting that money for his bond. I had no idea this guy had fans and supporters. I knew that his daughters appeared to be supporting him throughout the progression of the last case and this one. But I'm scratching my head a little bit at the supporters coming together and putting money in the pot to help the bail bondsman. So let's talk about that. Let's bring back in attorney Mario Gallucci and welcome in private investigator with Black Ops, private investigators, also military veteran Manuel Gomez. All right, Manuel, does it surprise you that this guy apparently has fans?
No, unfortunately, it doesn't surprise me. This tends to be the norm right now with these highly publicized cases. I mean, the media is reaching out, supporting people, even like that guy, David. I mean, it's insanity what's going on. And I'm so saddened by this because if the people would just look at the facts in this case, this man went the day his wife was allegedly killed. Okay, he went and said he was working on a construction site, but what he did do was go to different locations and drop off bags. Let me say that again. He dropped off bags in different dumpsters, okay? Now, that part still hasn't been uncovered yet on what he dropped off, but the fact is that she went missing. He has too much evidence, the chemicals in her bones. Come on, why are we supporting this? Wake up, everybody. He's a killer.
Manuel, preach. I love your analysis. And you know what? We're seeing that on so many cases because, you know, I'm of the opinion, support whoever you want, for whatever reason, but make sure it's an informed opinion, right? The blind support of somebody they look like they're innocent. They don't look like they're a murderer. We see this in various cases. I shake my head. Mario Gallucci, let's take a listen to some of what was discussed at his bond hearing, and I'm going to come to you on the other side.
If Mr. Morphew posts bond, the added conditions are that Mr. Morphew may not leave the state of Colorado for any reason. Mr. Morphew will have a GPS monitor placed on him before he is released, and he may not leave his home for any reason except for medical emergencies, to attend medical appointments, to meet with his attorneys, or to attend court.
The part about meeting with his attorneys is what I want to ask you about, Mario. How much of a difference does it make for you as the lawyer in trial prep when you have a client out on bond versus one who's locked up awaiting trial?
So it makes a huge difference. If I have access to you at any time I want, it's very convenient for me to call you in the office. And discovery, or the things that the prosecution turns over, is generally on a rolling basis. So we're going to get discovery, coming in a little bit at a time. And that would mean that I would need to discuss it with you as I get it. To see somebody in jail or to set up one of these video visits is very hard to do. And even when you do set up a video visit with a jail, if there's an alarm or something going off at the jail, they're canceled. They cancel them all the time. So having the ability to meet with your client in the office is always very advantageous, especially when it comes to discussing the discovery. This is a circumstantial evidence case. So as the evidence comes in, I'm going to have to discuss it. Like Manuel just said, you know, what's with these bags? I would want to know what's with those bags. You know, it could be completely innocuous. We must remember, you know, this man is innocent until he's proven guilty.
Very true, Mario, you're right. Cloaked in that presumption of innocence, and we know the charges didn't stick the first time around. The state had some difficulties, so we'll see what happens the second time. We know that Barry Morphew was there with investigators at the time of Suzanne's disappearance. So whether he truly was there being victimized as a husband grieving, or if he was behind this, as the state of Colorado believes, he was there. And he shared a little theory about what happened to Suzanne. This clip pretty much went viral in the true crime community and on national news. Let's take a look at this. And Manuel, I'm coming to you on the other side.
Was it a crash? I mean, the bike looked, the way it was laying, it kind of looked like it, but there's not really that much damage to the bike. That's the thing.
Lion?
Yeah, it was just like lion.
No lion?
I didn't see anything that would indicate.
So he suggests she was eaten by a mountain lion. Manuel, your thoughts?
I'm just taken back by that. I mean, the fact of the matter is the evidence shows what he just said was a lie. A mountain lion would have left some type of blood markings. There would have been some type of fight, and you would have seen some type of evidence, DNA evidence left behind. But the fact that her helmet was found like a quarter mile away, and not only that, but I thank God that her remains was able to show that that chemical, BAM, which is linked to her husband having access to that medication, all right, that medicine that was used for animals, found in his wife's DNA. And that, I think, is going to be the catalyst in this case. Lying theory? Come on. Again, what are we supporting?
Exactly, Manuel. Great points. Did the mountain lion shooter with the tranquilizer dart with the BAM, is the mountain lion responsible for that? Like you said, give me a break. Focus on the evidence. That is the theme. That should be the theme of every case. And look, we can only control what we do here on this show, and that is digging into the evidence and not wild theories. So Barry Morphew, will monitor him as he's out on bond. He's going to have some more court appearances coming up in the near future, and we will be there to broadcast them all. Manuel Gomez, you've got cases to work, crimes to solve. Thank you so much for the awesome insight this morning. We'll see you soon. Mario is coming with us. Do the same at home, please. When we come back, we're going to where Mario practices. We're going to New York and talking about this guy, Luigi Manion, how his team wants the death penalty off the table.
This is the Court TV Podcast.
Fresh off a legal victory last week, Luigi Manioni's attorneys are now asking the judge to kick the death penalty. That's right, they want it dismissed from his federal murder case. In a recent filing, his lawyers argue that authorities prejudiced his case by turning his arrest into a Marvel movie spectacle. They cited statements made by the U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi and this moment where armed officers walked alongside of the 27-year-old on that Manhattan pier. Manioni's defense team, which is led by former Manhattan prosecutor Karen Friedman Agnifilo, claimed that the decision by the AG's office to make this a death penalty case was based on politics, not on merit. In their 114-page filing, Manioni's lawyers had this to say in part, quote, "There's a high bar to dismissing an indictment due to pretrial publicity. However, there's never been a situation remotely like this one where prejudice has been so great against a death-eligible defendant." So, could this latest motion tip the scales of justice? Will Luigi continue on the winning streak. We know he had those 2 state terrorism charges dismissed last week in New York State court. Let's talk about someone who practices both in state and federal court and knows Karen Agnifilo and her husband, Mark Agnifilo, who I saw in a recent filing seems to have been joining this defense team on this case. Mario Gallucci is with us this morning. Mario, what do you think? Do you think their filing holds merit?
So, you know, Mark and Karen are very, very bright. I've told you that when we did the P. Diddy trial. They're trying to do anything they could possibly do to get the death penalty off this case. And they're saying that it was politically motivated, that, you know, it's against his constitutional rights, that the jury pool has been completely destroyed as a result of the publicity surrounding the surrender. I believe Mayor Adams actually participated in the surrender of Luigi Manion. So they're arguing that he doesn't have any rights as a result of this. His constitutional due process rights were violated as a result of the spectacle they made out of his arrest, the perp walk. You know, all of that is going against him. And as a result of that, he can't get a fair trial. And if he can't get a fair trial, how could you possibly have the death penalty here? And that's the argument they're going to make. I don't know if they're going to win that argument because it is a death penalty case.
Right. Well said, Mario. Let's go back in time and listen to a little bit of what Karen Friedman Agnifilo said at one of the hearings and talking about the problem of the pre-trial publicity.
I'm very concerned about my client's right to a fair trial in this case. He's being prejudiced by some statements that are being made by government officials. Like every other defendant, he's entitled to a presumption of innocence.
Okay, so Mario, in terms of the safeguards, what do you do? You're Luigi's lawyers, as you've said, you've told us before how intelligent and seasoned these attorneys are, and I'm wondering if now with which really was a victory that Mark Agnifilo got in Diddy's case with the, you know, verdict that was had on the least serious of the charges. I wonder if now he's joining in on this one to help his wife. I know they practice together. What are some of the other things you think we might be seeing them do to protect Luigi against any other unfair prejudices that may arise in this pretrial process?
And so they're doing it right now by getting all of this out into the public. As we discussed earlier on the show with the social media, they're doing the same thing on our side. The defense has to get their story out there. And they're doing a very good job of that. We're discussing what they're doing. We're discussing what, you know, that they got the terrorism counts dropped in front of Judge Carroll, I believe it was, in the state case. And they're getting that out into the public. So every day the public is seeing Luigi in a better light every single day. They're getting ahead in this case. And that's their job, and that's what they're doing. They're very good at doing that. They're very good at trying to get ahead.
Yes, they certainly are. And Mario, it's no secret, Luigi Manion has a massive following. I was saying earlier, it surprised me that Barry Morphew would have a following or fans, but he does. And apparently, Luigi's fan base is growing bigger by the day. I mean, it was massive, but, you know, as we keep, you know, following the various court dates, it just seems to continue to grow. I would think prosecutors, Mario, would be concerned. Do you?
So, yeah, when I was a prosecutor, I was always concerned about something like that. Myself, on this case, I got over 1,000 hits on my own social media account, people wanting me to defend them, you know, Mario and Luigi. I was getting that all the time. So, yes, that is it is a concern for a prosecutor. And the prosecutor also, you know, they can't get ahead of it. They're not supposed to be commenting to the press. They're not supposed to be shaping it. They're supposed to seek justice, not a conviction. So, you know, while Mark and Karen are out there pumping away, the prosecution's got to put the brakes on what they can say. They've already said too much. And I think that you're going to see them remain silent here and let this just play out in the courts.
Sure, a great insight, Mario. Well, you let us know if they add you. You know, they could still add you to the team. We know we're not close to trial quite yet, and there is a Luigi in your life. It's your dog, for anybody who doesn't know. Vito and Luigi, can see them on Mario's social media. Mario, great insight from you as per usual. Thank you so much for everything this morning. We'll see you soon. That's all for this episode of Opening Statements, my friends. I'm your host, Julie Grant, and it's been great being with you. On this show, I am calling out any pants on fire moments in our big trials and true crime stories, and I want you to come along with me. Opening Statements is live every weekday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern on Court TV. Thank you for downloading this episode. Please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your friends. You can watch past shows anytime you like on CourtTV.com.